We heard that a friend of ours was going on a holiday back to her family's home country.
She says something special was going to happen while she was there.
Then when she came back, she told us she had been cut.
We wanted to find out what that meant and why it happened to her.
So we decided to investigate.
We decided the best way to discover what we needed to know was to become reporters, TV reporters. So we asked ITN and the Kids Takeforce to help us. First stop, fact-finding at the ITN headquarters in London. This is our film. Cut is just one simple word, but it took us into a whole world that many people don't even know exists. Because to be cut, like our friend was, means to undergo what used to be called female circumcision. Now it's known as female genital cutting, or as the United Nations calls it, female genital mutilation, FGM. Breakfast TV's Dr. Hilary Jones explained to us just what that means.
Female genital mutilation is exactly what it says. It's mutilation. It's a very severe and barbaric procedure carried out on a woman's sexual organs to alter them permanently. And it's carried out for a variety of cultural and traditional reasons, social reasons, but as I say, there's no medical reason for it. I'm very much against this procedure.
Beyond the medical facts, we wanted to understand what lies behind such a practice, which is widespread in countries from Africa to the Far East and among communities here in Britain. One woman who has been cut is Layla Hussein. It's a day she'll never forget. She and others now campaign against FGM.
All I remember was somebody was screaming and this girl was explaining what they're going to be doing to us. I said to her, and she said, don't worry, she goes, you're going to have to be brave and make sure you don't move around too much. You're just going to cut something and they're going to stitch you. And I couldn't believe that part of somebody was actually going to do something to that part of my body. People always forget it's a child who doesn't have a say, who's been pinned to a table, exposed to these people. And then, so it's like, oh, that's violated.
There are so many things that used to be done in the past that have been stopped. And I think FGM is also one of the practices that we need to now say that no and enough is enough, and it's totally not necessary. There is pressure on mothers to want to do it because they are expected to do it. And again, nobody wants to be seen as a bad mother. You want to be seen as a good mother in your community. So I think, again, those pressures that come on mothers really enforce them to continue the practice.
Former supermodel Waris Dirie was cut when she was just a little girl, living as a nomad in the Somali desert. Her story is now a major feature film.
I was 3 years old. And the night before, I was given an extra portion of rice.
Waris Dirie was appointed United Nations Special Ambassador on FGM. Now she runs her own foundation to combat the practice. After her experience, she believes it is very important to stop FGM. She's passionate about the campaign.
It's only one wish I have. I really truly want to, and that wish is to see in my lifetime that FGM is no longer carried out anywhere in this world. And that's all I want to see. And I don't want to wait next year. I don't want to wait next month. It is terribly wrong. It's against the God. It's against the law. It's against any human right. It's against all that God created.
Dr. Comfort Memoh is one of Britain's leading medical experts on FGM. She sees and treats many women who have been through it and who live with the consequences of it every day.
There are 4 different types of FGM. There's type 1, which is known as clitoridectomy. That is when the clitoris has been removed. And there's type 2, which is when the clitoris has been removed either partially or totally, as well as the inner labia, which you can describe as the lips, the inner lips. And there's a third type, which is when the clitoris has been removed partially or totally, and all the labias, the inner labias, the outer labia has been removed, and everything stitched together, leaving a small opening. The effect that we see at the clinic includes pain during sexual intercourse, pain with the menstrual flow, urinary tract infection, which is a big one, and also vaginal infection, and also problem during childbirth.
Can you imagine what it must be like to be subjected to a procedure often not carried out by anybody with medical experience, with unsterile instruments, for non-medical reasons? It can be a painful procedure. It will cause pain in the future. It will take away any pleasure that that woman might get from love in the future. And I think it's understandable that it can leave women with emotional issues of anger, of resentment, of never being able to enjoy the physical aspects of love. And it can leave them with a sort of post-traumatic stress disorder. So a lot of stress, a lot of bitterness, a lot of resentment.
Men are often seen as the main reason FGM is still a fact of life for many girls and women. But as we found, times are changing. We met up with a group of young men who work with Layla Hussein's Daughters of Eve to bring about change. They're convinced it will be changed for the better.
Having several of my family and friends having gone through such transition, and obviously a person that hates any bad afflictions towards any human being, I decided to join this movement and just try to prevent it, learn from it, and educate people the effects that it has on the female of today's society.
At first I saw it as it being normal, because same stereotypical view that everyone else has. So it's been done for so long. Who am I to change it and who am I to be against it? So after finding out a lot of information about it from various organisations that we worked with, I thought to myself, hey, that's to stop.
I would not like to see any woman or any female going through that, whether they're related to me or not. You've got the actual impact that this sort of practice has on the female that goes through it, the physical, the mental and the psychological impact.
It's hard to be sure how many girls living in Britain are being cut. It's thought that in London alone, over 6,000 are at risk. While some say the figure for the UK as a whole is 22,000, often the procedure is carried out when girls are very young, from 5 to 7 years old, though it can also be inflicted on teenagers. But FGM's damaging effects go well beyond the harm it does to women on whom it is practiced. Here, as in many countries, it is a serious crime.
The penalties for this procedure being carried out are extremely severe, and they're up to 14 years imprisonment, and can extend to those organising the FGM to be performed, for example, those organising travel arrangements or making telephone calls. We're not here to attack an individual's culture and faith, but we cannot work alone on this. We all need to work together. Everyone has to work together to try and eradicate this practice.
So we've discovered that FGM or cutting is illegal. Doctors tell us it damages women's health with lifelong effects on their well-being. It is not sanctioned by any of the great world religions, but it remains a fact of life for millions of girls. What's been done about it?
We do now have access to specialist services, which is in response to the demand for services. We do also have training that's being done. Even now we're having training for the police, we are having training for social workers and health providers.
We can help young women who don't want this practice to be carried out on them by urging them to come forward and speak to agencies such as ourselves. They will be treated with the utmost care and confidence with specially trained officers, and they will be given as much support and guidance as they need. We also work closely with statutory and voluntary sector agencies who also provide similar guidance and support.
Our organisation, Daughters of Eve, we have a Facebook page that we've had many young girls who contact us through there, and then we give them either the number for the police or any other organisations nearby to them, or we go into that girl's school and make sure she's supported.
For over 3,000 years, the family truly believes that a daughter who is not circumcised is not clean, because what exists between our legs is unclean. So it must be removed and sealed up as proof of virginity and virtue. When I was a child, I said, I do not want to be a woman. Why, when it is so painful and so unhappy? But now that I am grown, I am proud to be who I am. But for the sake of all of us, let us try and change what that means to be a woman.
Female genital mutilation is exactly what it says, it's mutilation.
It's a practice that's irreversible and it's cruel.
FGM is harmful, FGM violates girls' rights, and FGM violates girls' dignity.
We now understand what being cut means for girls who go through it. We hope that this film will empower you to help if anyone you know is affected by it.
If you do need help, either for yourself or someone you know, here are some contact details for organizations that can support you.